Hello and welcome to week 3. My name is Mildred. This is lesson 1 of week 3, and in this lesson we are going to look at file referencing. In the previous weeks we have created an index page, we have created an external style sheet, and we have also created a template file. But what we did not discuss is how to structure our web page in such a way that we can group related files together. When developing web applications, we sometimes have several pages, several images, several files, several style sheets, several scripts. We always have a folder where we save all of these documents. Now that folder is the root of the document. Recall in week 1 when we started the course, I created a folder on my desktop. And in this folder, I have saved the 3 files that we have used this far. These 3 files can be said to exist in the root directory of the project. Before we can discuss file referencing properly, let us create new folders in this root directory where we can group related files together. So I'll create a new folder and I'll call this the CSS folder. This folder is going to hold all of my style sheets. I'll create another folder and I'll call this the pages folder, and it is going to hold all the pages of my web application. I'll create another one called the scripts folder, and all JavaScript files will be saved here. I'll create another folder called the images folder, and I'll save every image that I will use in the web application here. There is no fixed convention, or there's no fixed way of doing this. You can decide the structure you want, but just make sure you keep things organized and you keep related files in the same folders and you reference your files properly. Now what I want to do is to have all my pages of the web page in the pages folder, all my styles in the CSS folder, all my images in the images folder, and when we get to JavaScript, I will have all my scripts in the script folder. When I go to the file, I now have all of these here. On the index page, we have some code, and we have this linked to the main.css file. I want to change what we have on this page. When we go to the web page, we have this presentation. Now take note that the index page and the main.css file exist in the same directory, that is at the root of the project. The href attribute takes the value, which is the address, to the main.css file. And because it resides in the same directory as the index file, we just write the file name main.css. In the event that we move main.css now to the CSS folder, it is no longer in the same directory with the index.html page. And so when I save this and I refresh my page, all styles will be lost. The reason for this is the index page can no longer find the main.css file in its directory. When you have a change in directory, you need to change the referencing to the file. Now, the main.css file exists in the CSS folder, written with the name of the folder and a /, and then just in the CSS folder, we have the main.css file. And when I save this and refresh this time, my styles are applied back. So this is the importance of file referencing. If you do not reference your files properly, you will not find the file, and then whatever you need to link to will not be linked. This is as easy as it gets. there are complex ways or complex referencing of files. Sometimes within this folder, there might exist another folder. So let's create a new folder here. And I'll say css/main. Now there is a main folder here. And I'll move the main.css file into the main folder. And when I save this and I refresh my page, my style is lost once again. My referencing is now wrong because my main.css file is in my CSS folder, but it doesn't exist in the root of the CSS folder, but in another folder called main. So I'll put my CSS folder / my main folder / my file name. When I save this and I refresh my page, this time my style is applied. Let's create new pages in the pages folder. So I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name this about.html. I'll create a new file here called contact.html and a new file here called, let's say, login.html. Now I have 3 new files. I will copy my index page into my about page and I'll change the text here. I'll do the same thing for the contact and I'll change this to contact. And I'll do the same thing for the login and I'll change this to login. Now, on the about page, we want to apply the main.css style. But we want to figure out a way to reference this file properly. Now, this referencing is no longer correct because this about page exists in the pages folder. In the event where a file is in a folder and the file needs to go out of the folder into the directory where the source or the reference file is, we use 2 dots and a / to indicate move out of the folder. The about.html file is in the pages folder, and so we put 2 dots and a / to say come out of the pages folder, and when it is out of the pages folder, it is going to see the CSS folder. We want it to go into the CSS folder, then go into the main folder, and then get the main.css file. And when we come to this web page and change the address here to about.html, this is in the pages folder, we have the about page with the style applied. If we move the main.css out of the main folder back to the CSS folder, and we save this and we refresh our page, the style no longer applies because the referencing is wrong. To make the referencing correct, we'll take out the main folder because it is now in the root of the CSS folder. We save this, we refresh our page, and we have our styles applied. So this is how we reference files. It can be a little confusing at first if you're not very used to directory structures of files and folders on the system, but more practice will help you understand when to reference your files correctly. And in the event where you have another folder here and you need to come out of the folder twice, you will use 2 dots and a / for as much number of times you need to move out of folders to get into the directory where the file you want to reference is located. So this is all about file referencing, and this is where we end this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to look at hyperlinks. Thank you and see you.